The Summer Birds by Penelope Farmer, Part 1, 4. Charlotte laid her head wearily on the ground and hugged her joy to herself. The boy rolled over on his stomach and surveyed her, chewing a piece of grass. Suddenly he reached over and tickled the back of her neck. Absorbed in her own world, she jumped. "Goodness, you frightened me," she said. The boy laughed. "Ha ha, good." He grinned broadly at her then. "I've had my patience tried this morning. What a slow coach you were learning. But you tried well enough. I like you." "Thank you, that's so kind of you," said Charlotte, trying to joke, but desperately pleased inside because so many people thought her a prig. She buried her head in the grass, feeling her face scarlet, and would not look at him. "Do you know many people, Charlotte?" Charlotte tried to look as though it were her own choice. Charlotte, trying to look as though it were her own choice, said, "No, I don't. Do you?" "No," said the boy abruptly. They lay in silence for a little while, their eyes closed, in the heat and warm grass smell of summer. "Tell me about you, Charlotte," the boy started again suddenly. "Where you live, what you do, I want to know." Charlotte at first did not know how to begin. She wanted to be angry at his curiosity, but suddenly she found herself with great enjoyment, telling him about their house with its turrets, and their grandfather, who liked little girls good, and Emma, who liked being naughty, and about herself, who was very bad at persuading their grandfather that naughty little girls could be nice, and Emma that being good wasn't always impossible. She told him about the housekeeper, Miss Gosling, who tried to be strict, but who was too old and lazy, and Bomble, who was old and lazy too, but very kind, and who taught them to make paper boats to sail on his water tank, and about the greenhouses, which were warm and smelled of tomatoes, and about the Roman bath, which you stepped down into, and about the peacock fan and the hummingbirds, and the swallows, particularly about the swallows. "You must come to tea and see it one day," she said, excited. "Would you like to come? Oh, do come, please." It was only then that she realized that she knew nothing about the boy, or where he came from, or even what his name was, and that usually you only asked to tea people you knew, and whom grown-ups considered respectable, but of him she knew nothing at all. So she grew stiff and shy again and said politely, mustering all her courage, "But you must tell me your name, please, and where you live. Grandpa is sure to ask." The boy, who had been listening to her interestedly, without mockery, now smiled the strange, frightening smile that lit his chestnut eyes. "Quizzy monkey," he said, raising his right eyebrow at her. "What does it matter to you? I'm here, that's all." Charlotte blushed, thinking perhaps she had heard him. Perhaps he was an orphan, and you didn't ask orphans about their homes. So she fell silent and did not know what to say. When she looked at him, however, there was no sad orphan look on his face. There was only a mischievous glint, a half smile, as though he were enjoying being mysterious. A few hours before, she would have been suspicious and worried, but now she was sure that, strange as he was, there was no need to fear him, and that it was no use asking him questions. One day, maybe he would tire of secretiveness and tell her of himself. As for now, it was summer. She had learned to fly. She had a new friend, and nothing else mattered. So she lay on her back, with her head on her hands, and watched some small clouds sailing across the sky. "And the school, the other children?" asked the boy suddenly, watching her while his fingers carefully unthreaded the seeds from a stem of grass. "Would they like to fly?" Charlotte did not know them very well, but she said, "I'm sure they would like flying as much as me." "Would they?" said the boy, his face lit up. "Would they like to learn to fly too? And we could go on flying picnics, you and I and all of them, as a band, together." Charlotte grew excited too, even though part of her wanted to keep the boy all to herself. "Yes, yes," she cried. "Couldn't I help you teach them to fly too, one Saturday here in the field?" The boy laughed at her, but more kindly this time. "No," he said, "it cannot be. Only one by one a new pupil each day. That's all I can manage." Then he looked at her, raising an eyebrow and smiling a strange secret smile. "It's a secret," he said. "No telling. And I'll come to tea with you one day." They lay silent in the grass for a little longer, but the sun was high in the sky and it seemed near lunchtime, so the boy leaped to his feet and pulled Charlotte to hers. When she jumped from the windowsill, where buttercups were drying in a glass jar, down into the hot, chalky schoolroom. The boy had gone without her realizing it. No one seemed to notice her come back. No one seemed even to have noticed she had gone. The teacher's hand moved slowly over the blackboard. The clock hands crept slowly toward 12:30. Charlotte wondered, panic-stricken, if she had only been dreaming. But the bell rang at last. When they ran out into the little yard for lunch, she found the smallest kick still sent her soaring into the air, and she had to come hastily to the ground again, terrified lest anyone should see her. Hugging her secret, she did not mind when Molly Scobb ran past her, her pink hair ribbon undone, and cried, "Mind out, Miss Prigg!" Emma was suspicious. She had not seen Charlotte go or come back, but she wondered about the boy and what had happened to him, and she noticed Charlotte's untidy hair, the ribbon slipping off. In place of her usual neatness, noticed her shining eyes and sunburned cheeks. She had never seen Charlotte look like that before. "You've got a secret, Char, I know you have. Tell me, please. I promise I won't tell anyone else," she pleaded on their way home at 4:00. "I'm 10 after all. I can keep a secret, you know I can, Char. Please won't you tell me?" Charlotte said, "But I haven't, Emma," and tried to look normal, though she did not feel it. "Pig, beastly pig, I know you have a secret," cried Emma, pink in the face. "You're the horridest person on this earth, and I hate you." And she ran ahead all the way up the lane. Charlotte was sorry and longed to tell her, but even when they passed the swallows on the lawn, and Emma, her temper recovered, said wistfully, "Look at them, I wish we could fly too," even though Charlotte remembered her promise to keep the secret inside her, a flying school. And soon Emma would know too. Soon all of them would know, all the children together, and they would fly, a school of swallows, skimming, diving, a flight of children. And that is the end of chapter 4.